Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Lunch and Learn with the SLSO. I'm Maureen Byrne, Associate Vice President for Education and Community Partnerships, and with me today to talk about all things in unison is Mr. Kevin McBeth, the Director of the In Unison course. Hello, Kevin.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. After 26 years, many people know about the In Unison chorus, and people in the St. Louis area are pretty familiar, but many don't know about the other parts of the In Unison program that have a profound effect on our community. And it's our plan today to talk about some of those programs. But before we do that, we want to take time to recognize the Bear Fund. Almost 3 decades of support of the In Unison program. They've been our partners in this from the very beginning, and we'd also like to thank our friends at Ascension and the Ascension Charity Classic, our sponsors today for this Lunch and Learn. I invite you to check out the plans of them bringing professional golf back to St. Louis and support North St. Louis County through early October charity tournament and at Norwood Hills Country Club. Sorry about that. Find all that information at slso.org/preferred partners to learn more.
Yeah, it's a great program. So before we introduce our first guest, let me give everybody a brief overview of today's conversation, which takes place in 3 different parts. We're going to start with a little bit of history about In Unison and also cover the In Unison Church program, which is where all of this started. Then we'll move to the In Unison chorus and plans for the coming season. Very excited about those. And we'll finish with a part of the program that often flies under the radar, the In Unison Academy. At the end of each one of these 3 segments, we'll take questions from the chat. And we hope that many of you watching will participate in this conversation by asking questions.
I'm really excited to welcome our guests today. A lot of us haven't been together for 4 months, and it's so great at least to see their faces here. Yeah. But we welcome Gwen Wesley, In Unison Chorus member, Michelle Byrd, who is the In Unison Chorus program coordinator for SLSO, and Michael Casimir, St. Louis Symphony Orchestra violist. And I think we see them appearing. There's Michelle, and hopefully we'll see Michael here in a moment. And there's Gwen, and there's Michael. Great, good to see you guys, and welcome everybody getting in and getting settled. Gwen, you've been involved in the In Unison program from the very beginning. How did you first hear about In Unison, and why did you get involved?
Well, I first heard about In Unison from Robert Ray. He was a friend of ours anyway, but I first met him as my daughter's piano teacher when Casa used to be in the building there on, Delmar and Trinity. He was my daughter's piano teacher, but then he became the minister of music at Westside Missionary Baptist Church, and that is where I am a member. And he told me about this chorus that was starting up with the goal of getting about 100 voices to come and perform at Powell Hall to do, African portraits. Now, that's been a long time ago. So I've been around for 26 years now, but once he told me about it and where we would be performing and why we were bringing this chorus to the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra, of course, I got excited about that. Always interested in singing, and definitely with Robert, because he always seems to find excellent opportunities for us to perform. Plus, I knew him in other environments where we had done some smaller projects in different places, so quite familiar with Robert. And so that's how I got involved with the In Unison course, and been here ever since.
And I think some people may not know that even prior to African Portraits, I think the year before, there was an ecumenical chorus that came together to do an MLK celebration along with the symphony chorus, and so I know that history goes way back. In addition to being a member of In Unison Chorus, you also serve as the In Unison coordinator at the church you mentioned, Westside Missionary Baptist Church, and you work with Michelle Byrd and SLSO to organize performances of musicians at your church. Tell everybody what those visits are like when they come to visit you.
Well, our congregation has a very diverse musical listening ear. And so they love to hear different kinds of music. We have music teachers, of course, that are part of it. We have choirs, we have children, it's a children's band. So working with Michelle, I could actually get musicians to come in and help us see how the music is universal. So a long time ago, we had symphony chorus members come in and instruct our children. So the kids got a chance to touch the stringed instruments, to understand where their fingers go, to understand what tones were made as you move your fingers up and down the instrument and the bows. All of that was very impressive. The best part is actually hearing the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra string section play a familiar hymn like Amazing Grace, but to hear that violin sing like nobody else can sing. That was extremely impressive, and we've always appreciated having them on site for our worship experience. Not only them coming there for them to come to us, but for them to also experience us. And so to me, that creates a bridge.
Sure, sure. It's wonderful. I know that there's a special project that Michelle, you're pretty excited about and talking about. It's been going really well. Talk to us about Florence Price.
Very excited about it. So the mission of the In Unison program is to preserve, promote, and perform the music of African and African-American composers, artists, and things of that nature. And the past 2 years, we have been reintroducing, if you will, Florence B. Price into the churches with her history, and also with her piece of music. We have a string quartet we take into the churches. Miss Gwen has had the opportunity to have the string quartet come, and we have been performing the string quartet in G major by Miss Price. It has been extremely exciting to see the reactions and the responses of what we like to call a sermonette that we deliver of her history before you hear this beautiful piece of music played, and especially considering the fact that she is the first Black woman symphonic composer.
That's a fantastic thing, and I have yet to be in that experience. But every time you all talk about it, you light up so much. I can't wait to experience it in real time for myself. It's a great segue to bring Michael into the conversation. Michael, what have those experiences been like with the Florence Price project and playing the music, but also hearing the response from the congregations?
Well, I mean, it's very refreshing to play music from not that doesn't exist in our canon, really. So it's always nice to find a way to connect with the community, of course, and with the Florence Price Quartet. It's very an easy, tangible thing. And it also has a kind of interesting viola part in there. So, personally, I always it's a good time. Yeah, and the reaction's always pretty nice. Can I leave it at that for now, and then we can let it evolve a little bit? I don't want to say too much too soon. So
Sure, understandable. Yeah, we're actually excited to introduce some of Florence's choral music over the next couple of seasons to our audiences too. She's had written some wonderful things for multiple church choirs that she'd been connected with. But again, I know we've heard some great things about the project.
And of course, one of her pieces for full symphony orchestra is planned for April with Stefan Denev conducting, and that's just going to be, we'll talk a little bit more about that concert in a few minutes, but I think many of us, more than 4,000 In Unison church members have heard that piece of music at this point. So there's some familiarity with Florence Price now, and we hope that everybody comes and hears her big symphony at Powell Hall. So with the church program, during the course of the regular season, the symphony visits to our partner churches are included on our free concert listings on the website. We would love to invite people to come to our In Unison partner churches. It's a wonderful way to experience you know, our whole community together. And it's always great when we see people from the community joining us. So before we wrap up this segment and switch to the In Unison Chorus, let's see if there are any questions in the chat. Michelle, one for you. How many In Unison churches are there and where are they located?
So there are currently 33 In Unison churches that are a part of our program, and they are in the St. Louis metropolitan area. I think it's important for everyone to know that some of these churches have been in existence for 100 years, and they remain pillars in our communities all around. So, and a lot of the chorus members and coordinators and things do community service projects and things in our community. So we have 33 total.
That's great. There's another question here about church visits during COVID. Of course, everything is a little bit on hold right now, but as soon as those get up and going again, they'll be on the website. Michael, there's a question for you here. How long have you been with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra, and is this your first job with a professional orchestra?
So this is my second, well, was going to be my second full year. And my first year, I was a 1 year, so like a one year contract member, and then I won the job for real in February of 2019, I want to say. And I guess technically it's my first like full-time job. I was on trial with the London Philharmonic at the same time I was trying to win the job here, so I was like kind of doing both. But I'm happy to be, you know, here, you know, St. Louis all day, and and yeah, no, it's I love, you know, I love the city, and it's great. Yeah.
Well, you're a valuable addition.
Thank you.
I think there was a question that popped up, and Michelle, you probably get these often, but what makes a church an In Unison church? And I know that there's a whole process that's a part of that, but maybe if you can give them a quick snapshot of what's going on, just in case somebody's tuned in and wants to know about that.
So ideally what happens is a lot of these churches just have been a part of the program since the very beginning. That started with those churches that started that first concert that happened at Powell Hall. In order for a church to be an In Unison church, there has to be a representative willing to be able to come to meetings and things, to distribute information directly from us at the SLSO. And as we call them, partners, to be partners with us and sharing information and being a part of what we do. Also, to be an In Unison church partner, there has to be, I think it's important to note that we have people that attend our concerts as well, to be able to share that information. Also, because we have so many churches, being able to have the capacity to host that many churches. So I think the important thing is first to reach out to me so that everyone will know like where we stand, but also already have in mind what it is, understanding the purpose of what we do, and also having a representative to do such things.
Right. So it really is a collaborative effort, you know, work on behalf of the symphony and also work on behalf of the In Unison Church to make that happen. And I think a lot of people probably aren't aware that, you know, there's a limit. We can only have so many partner churches because there are only, you know, so many weeks a year that we can get musicians out and share all of our music. So it is kind of a coveted spot, I hear, and some churches have remained on the list since the very beginning and don't want to leave that list. So it is a spot to be desired. I think probably we better transition on to the next thing. Gwen and Michelle, I think you're going to be with us for a little while, but I think we're going to say goodbye to Michael. I would imagine you probably have some practicing or something that you have to do. But we're going to say goodbye to Michael and looking forward to hearing more great Florence Price music, and can't wait to see you guys live in the hall. That's looking forward to that.
Cool, thanks.
So we're going to be joined by two additional guests for this conversation about our amazing In Unison chorus. Darius Duncan is an In Unison chorus young artist, and Natalie Dwasham is a Grammy-nominated flutist, composer, and vocalist. Welcome to Darius and Natalie.
Thank you.
Hi. So, hi, Natalie. So I'm going to go back to Gwen. You've been a member of the In Unison chorus from the very beginning. Kevin, you've been conducting the chorus for almost a decade now. Michelle, you not only manage the chorus, but you're also a member. And Darius, you've been singing with the chorus for the last 5 years as a young artist. I would love to know from each of you, and we'll go in that order, what your standout memory has been.
So you called me first, so let me,
Yep.
That's right, okay. Okay, quite all right. So you can imagine that since I've been around for so long, there are many, 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 many concerts that have etched in my memory. But I'll tell you this last, the 25th anniversary, I saw Robert running this race in a relay race, you know what I'm saying, for the 15 years that he was there. And then he had a baton that he passed on to Kevin. The fact that the two of them were on the stage at the same time. And wow, Robert confirmed that we're in good hands. I mean, we know that. But to see those two conductors on the stage at the same time and the grace with which I believe Kevin allowed Robert to be in that space and just to honor him, that was one of the most memorable things about the In Unison chorus for me. Like I said, there's plenty of concerts. Alita Adams is still my favorite, but that one, that one particular event, I'll never forget that one.
That's beautiful. Kevin.
Gwen, it's interesting you mentioned that. I just ran across pictures probably just a week ago. Somebody snapped a couple pictures of Robert on stage and everybody greeting him, and it really was an incredible memory, just because the fact that we don't get a chance to see him that often.
Exactly.
So for him to be there and to help us celebrate was really quite a moment. Mine goes all the way back to the beginning, and of course I have countless ones. In fact, behind me is my sort of visual representation of all those concerts. That's the only way I keep up with everything, is because I have them on the wall, so I know where they are. But I think I have to go back to the very first one. It was literally a baptism by fire. So being hired in December and coming on board mid-season right away in January of 2011. And then, just the wonderful things of, oh yeah, by the way, your first concert is in 7 rehearsals, so good luck. And here's the new chorus, and have fun with that. And just to make things more interesting, it's going to be televised on PBS. So take it away. So just those early moments on stage, hearing the chorus for the first time, just that In Unison sound that we talk about. Our first rehearsals with the orchestra for that very first round. I mean, there's nothing like it, and it's repeated, it's replicated every time we're on stage, and just a thrill to do that. But that's probably one of the ones that stands out for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, my first experience with the St. Louis Symphony was when I was 14 years old, right? So I sang with my middle school chorus. There was some kind of program going on at the time, and Robert Ray was hosting auditions for one of us young people. I auditioned and of course did not get it. But I told myself that day, I said, look, one day I'm gonna sing on the stage, right? So 2016, on stage, so nervous, and we sing, I think it was 2016, when we performed He Never Failed Me Yet, which is also Robert Ray's, the piece of music that he composed, and the piece of music that I would have led during that time as a 14-year-old, right? So we're on stage, and then it hits me, I manifested this opportunity. I said when I was 14 years old, I would sing on this stage. In that moment, like I'm in full tears, like trying to pat my face and stay professional. Because I realized that one thing that I had said I was going to do, I had actually done it. And now all of that moment turned into all of what's happening for me right now. So that's my favorite moment.
Well, I think that brings me in. I'm led to say that every memory with In Unison is a memorable one and my favorite, just especially seeing as we've had to borrow so much time with COVID in this season. Share so much time with COVID in this season, and it's taken a lot of time out of our last season. But I think that reflecting back, my favorite memory was really my first rehearsal with In Unison. I went right in right after my audition, and when those double doors kind of flooded open, and you just kind of I got introduced to a new family, and that meant a lot to me, seeing as I'm not from this area. They instantly, took me in, and it wasn't this this election process. It was just pretty much just like, hey, you're in, and we love you, and you're great. And so I think that would have to be the most memorable, just because it led to so many other memorable and favorite moments. So
those are all great memories. So Natalie, this isn't your first time having a conversation with chorus members. In fact, I understand you've had conversations with several members recently. Tell us about your upcoming project with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra and the In Unison Chorus, and why you felt it was important to have these conversations with the chorus members.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be here today. First of all, let me just say thanks for having me, and so incredibly excited about the piece that is still in its nascent stages, but that I'm starting to write for SLSO and In Unison. When the orchestra first reached out to me, obviously any composer would be thrilled to write a piece for SLSO. And when they then mentioned In Unison, I was like, for sure, I'm sold. Let's make this happen. It only took, 1 second of watching any of their videos to see that this was there was something really magical about them. But also, I'm glad that Darius brought up this word, which also came up in a lot of my conversations. The sense of family and the sense of community amongst the members is really palpable. So for me personally, in my own creative practice, it's really important for me. I often say that I like to write pieces for people, not just for instruments. A chorus is a very special kind of instrument of them all, especially that like the voice in and of itself, unlike any other instrument, is really unique to each human being. No two voices are the same. And a chorus is really special because it sort of magnifies the power of all of these unique instruments coming together to form one voice. And so immediately my thought in writing the piece, in writing a piece that was really going to highlight chorus, and how special of a component it is of SLSO, and also, creating an opportunity for there to be space for the chorus's story on stage and to really be centered in that way. My first thought was, I have to get to know these people if I'm going to write for their instruments. So immediately, I really wanted to just have an individual conversation with them. I think that also what I've learned a lot through my work, which involves a lot of collecting of oral history and research, just about every project I'm involved in right now and have been at least for the past 5 years or so, that you get such a true sense of a place, you get such a true sense of a history, you get such a true sense of the story of people by just talking to them. And so it was amazing to me that the chorus members were generous enough to give of their time as part of my creative process. And also just that it allowed me to get to understand, without having met them. I was supposed to have met them in person in April. That didn't happen because of COVID, but gave me an opportunity to really get a true sense of who they are, so that I could begin to think of writing a piece that would really share their story and also do them justice, give them a piece that was deserving of them as artists and as beautiful vocalists and as a community coming together to share, which is like one of the most beautiful things that can happen, as you know, as we all know, because we're missing it so deeply right now, not being able to gather as community and share and find fellowship through music. So that was really important to me. I think also just from the perspective, the compositional perspective of what is the text? What is the text that you set for these voices? It felt like the only natural thing to do was to have the text come from the people themselves, to have them tell their own story and to not have me ascribe a story to them or not have them, you know, glorify another story, but to in fact center and glorify their own story. And so I got to spend many hours, thanks to Michelle's amazing organizing, I got to spend many hours having some very deep and beautiful conversations with a lot of the chorus members, every single one of whom expressed, just like Darius, that this is a family for them, that it's more than just a musical space, and that of course all of these performances that you've all mentioned, all of these moments are really valuable to them personally, but more than anything, the sense of family, the sense of welcoming that they all felt, whether they were new members or like Mr. Bosley, who's, you know, old member, the oldest member, that they're really, it has been a sense of family that's been fostered there that I think is hard to come by, and especially in this particular historical moment in time, meant a lot to me to be able to connect with them individually in this way, and means a lot to be able to create a piece that honors that in this moment in time.
I love a piece that starts with listening. There's a beauty in that is really palpable. Natalie, what's your next step after this listening stage? What is the next step in your personal composition process?
Yeah, so I was able to record all of the conversations. Everyone was gracious enough to agree to that. I think I imagine it's also strange. Most composers don't usually engage with you know, their performers in this way. It's something that's a big part, a pretty essential part of my practice. So I was grateful that they were all open to that. And really what I have spent time doing since I spoke to them was going back and listening again back to all of the conversations and finding the common threads, finding the essential stories, finding the pieces that hit my own heart, even though I'm not a member of the chorus, but that hit my own musical heart, that hit my own personal heart, the things that remind me of my families, my personal family, my musical families that I belong to, knowing very well that those are the things that are also going to resonate with the general public. Those are the things that are going to sit really deeply in people's hearts, and it's going to make the piece feel like it is a piece for everyone experiencing it, not just the chorus members. And to then really, you know, my next move, which I'm just beginning to phase now, to understand what kind of sonic environment allows these stories to really soar. So, and that's where the orchestra comes in, I think, in support of these stories, to really illustrate them sonically in a gorgeous way, to leave space for them, to bolster them in a beautiful way. And so that's really what I'm thinking about, like what kind of sonic environments I want to shape over the course of the piece that show you the through thread, that really helps to bring a lot of it to the forefront, and also giving the orchestra many moments to shine, because we all want to hear how beautifully they play. But I think, you know, to me, the orchestra's support of In Unison is a big part of the story. So that's how I'm thinking of shaping the sonic world that I'm working in.
Just as you're talking about that, you know, it pops in my head, and this is a practical matter that you may not want to divulge yet, but do you think text will come first, or are you already starting to hear some thematic things musically? What do you think which will come first, the chicken or the egg?
I mean, for the most part, the text is leading, but some of the pieces of text come to me with a very clear melodic component or a very clear rhythmic component, or understanding which voices might actually be responsible. I think my favorite thing about working with a chorus specifically is that you can work really delicately and beautifully with these massive voices, but there's also opportunity to highlight smaller groups of voices. And compositionally, that's really different. To work with, 4 or 8 voices at once versus 120 voices at once is really different, and does allow for a lot of space and shape. So a lot of how I'm thinking about the text, even though it's sort of leading the charge in many ways. So many of the pieces of text that are sort of rising to the top as these parts have to be included, also are coming to me with a really specific understanding of how that text will be handled within the chorus, which voice parts really get to handle those, how will the voices support each other in doing that, and also the instrument groups that pair with that. So some of them are coming with pretty clear rhythmic, like informed in a pretty clear rhythmic and melodic way in my own mind anyway. That may change. We still have a long ways to go here, so that may change, but for sure the story is guiding me through.
You know what, just as you're talking, Natalie, when people compose for an orchestra or compose for a chorus, they have not necessarily invested the way that you've invested to get to know who we are. And so it seems to me that this really will be a piece that was written for and by the In Unison chorus, because you're pulling out who we are and incorporating that into the music that we're going to all sing, but we'll sing it because we know that this is who we are. And so you've got this, oh my gosh, it gives me chills just to think about the fact that we have a Natalie who knows us, and we're going to sing a song that speaks for us to everybody else. So I am so very excited and so pleased that you are doing this and that the symphony thought to do it, because this is, to me, this is just a perfect situation for us, for the chorus, and for the community as well.
Thank you, and I'm glad to hear you say that, because I like to think of composition as a collaborative process, really. Again, going back to my sentiment, I really like I love writing pieces for people. And I do feel that it also allows for there to be a deeper investment from the chorus, knowing that this is really your story. This really is about you and me, doing my best to be in touch with you guys along the way to make sure that it's honoring you. And I can only reiterate that I'm creating something that's worthy of the story, because it was such a strong and beautiful and clear story in talking to you all.
A number of people in the chat mentioned that they cannot wait to hear this piece, and that's going to be part of next April. Before we move on to the next segment, we have time for one question, and a couple of people have asked this question. How do you recruit for chorus members?
I'm glad to see that come up, and I know that we've got quite a few folks logged in. So you see the beautiful person sitting there with the name Michelle Byrd. That is Lady Byrd is the entry point. So you can find her at the hall. Obviously, go right away to slso.org and check out the website. Especially when we are able to raise our voices again. More than anything, we want to add new, beautiful singers to what we already have created. And so excited about the potential of that. And so, if you know of somebody that is really seems to be connected with us in a way that helps us to move forward with our mission of performing and curating music from the Black American experience, I hope you'll reach out to Michelle, check out the website, let her know. We have auditions all the time. I know that the A word is a little scary, but I'm usually pretty gentle in auditions, and everybody has lived through them, so I haven't lost anybody yet. So you'll survive, but would love to add new voices to our beautiful chorus. So please be in touch with Michelle about that.
I have to say that I after talking to Michelle for weeks, I joked that I was like, Chicago's not all that far from St. Louis. I might end up doing it.
Totally do it. Totally do it. We would love to have you here.
That's funny.
All right. So we want to thank Gwen and Natalie and Darius for being here. Natalie, again, we are just really looking forward to what is going to be an incredibly special piece. So thank you so much. And we can't wait to meet you in person.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for taking time to be with us today too. We really appreciate it.
Yes. Okay.
All right. So for the final segment about the In Unison Academy, we want to give a huge welcome to In Unison Fellow Molina Smith.
Hello.
Hi, Molina. It's so good to see you.
Good to see you.
So, Molina, you have a history with the In Unison Academy. You were an In Unison scholar during your college years, and now you have a fellowship with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra. And Michelle, maybe people don't know this about you, but before you joined the symphony staff, you were also an In Unison scholar and an In Unison fellow. How did each of you come to the In Unison Academy, and what have your experiences been?
So I came to the program in 2015 as an In Unison scholar through the current students who were currently In Unison scholars, and they told me about the program. And I kind of started volunteering for other events around the SLSO that were taking place. My focus is choral music education. So that was my step in.
And then I started in 2015 during my first year at UMSL. And so at the time, it was the same as Michelle. So like at the time, Maria Ellis, our good friend, was in it, and she introduced me to Brian Owens, who at the time was like the In Unison artist in residence. And so that's how I kind of was recruited into the program. And yeah, so it's been awesome. It's been an awesome, I can't believe, 5 years.
Yeah, it goes by like that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So Molina, as a fellow with the symphony, an In Unison fellow, what are your responsibilities under that fellowship? Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so I love the fellowship. I get to manage a program called Peer to Peer that I'm obsessed with. And so I get to work with a group of students. There are 4 students, 4 community students from different schools in the area, and they're also all in Gateway Music Outreach, which I know we'll talk about in a little bit. And then we have 4 youth orchestra musicians who mentor them. And so with that, so I manage and facilitate everything for that program with the help of my awesome ed team. And so we have a lot of fun, and it's really meaningful, awesome work. It's awesome to watch them evolve over a season and watch them build rapport between themselves or amongst themselves, and just become better musicians and young people. And they get performance opportunities and whatnot with the symphony and our community concert at the end of each season. So that's really awesome. So yeah, and then they get mentored also by symphony musicians over the season as well. So it's very, very fun work. I love it. I love working with them. I love working with kids, but I love working with them specifically. So it's a lot of fun. So that's what I do.
It's a good part of the family. So you mentioned that the students in this program get performance opportunities. Kevin and Michelle, you guys have made those performance opportunities possible for these students. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it really has been a wonderful experience, and to sort of see our present and our future just right there in front. It's such a great opportunity, and so the chance for these peer-to-peer students to sit with their mentors, and then also joining with members of the SLSO. We've featured them several years now for our community concert, which happens each spring. and one that we missed very dearly being able to do this year. But to see that process of going from rehearsal to performance, and to see these students, I mean, just shine in performance with members of the orchestra, it's really been an exciting process. In fact, we've kind of adopted that, as a lot of people know, with the side-by-side experience with singers as well. So we've invited middle school and high school singers to have a side-by-side experience to come and rehearse with the In Unison Chorus on stage, and also to be a part of that performance. So making this really a multi-generational experience, but also the understanding that that as we like to say, music is a lifelong endeavor. I mean, if you do it right, you should be able to do it your entire life. And so just to see the way that connects, and the way that it brings us all together, and to see a 14-year-old or a 12-year-old musician standing and talking with a 70-year-old singer who's been doing this for a long time, and getting understanding the history and understanding the importance of what we do, it's really pretty remarkable.
One of my
I
favorite
would also like
programs.
to add that, I'm sorry, Maureen.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that I think it's awesome just to know that being an In Unison scholar and eventually developing into a fellow, that these opportunities are specifically tailored to each scholar. This is not a cookie cutter or one size fit all opportunity for scholars. Right. Each scholar, each opportunity is specifically tailored to each individual's focus as they graduate from college. And I think that having an understanding of what they want to do, and even being able to mentor. I was mentored as a scholar and as a fellow, and then I've taken on the tremendous opportunity to be able to be a voice and a pillar, and a voice of support for our current scholars, and of course Molina as well as a fellow, that these opportunities will not just be something we just throw them into, but we listen to them so that they can have a direct pathway to what it is that they want to do. I think being a fellow and a scholar at the time that I was played a huge role in the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing today. I mean, my focus was core music education, and I had every focus to go into being a middle school choir director. But I like to tell people that I have the unique opportunity to be able to do all of the things I love in one place. I get a chance to mentor. I'm a church girl through and through. So working with the In Unison churches is I love, and then just being able to just work with the community at large is an amazing opportunity. And then understanding that our scholars and our fellow also get these opportunities, because the truth is, before they even graduate, they're already educators, whether that's their focus or not. So having that understanding and making sure that all of the opportunities are things that they can use later, and the networking opportunities, I think were amazing and have made all of the difference in my career doing what I do.
Yeah, that's great.
Wonderful.
So unfortunately, we're running out of time really quickly here. I know we could all talk about these programs all day because there's so much to them. But one of the questions that has come through is for Molina. How does a student get into the peer-to-peer program, Molina?
So for a student to get into peer-to-peer, what we did this season for the first time is we required all of our students to be a part of Gateway Music Outreach, which is led by James McKay. And James is the orchestra director at Jennings, and he created an orchestra program ensemble that is in their local community, and they have students, so they have a smorgasbord of students from all different schools and ages, and they have all different opportunities for them to play in ensembles, have private lessons through Gateway Music Outreach. So all of our mentees this year are in Gateway Music Outreach, and it's been an awesome partnership, I think, because it also just adds an extra layer of community, I think, just between the students, because they already know each other. I know my first season, working in this program, like sometimes, you know, like working with younger kids, like, you know, everybody wants to seem really cool and like not talk to each other. And so like, I was like always trying to fight that, like, we're family, we're friends, everybody be nice. But not that they were being mean, but I'm just saying, but like with Game and Music Outreach, like they already like have music that they're all learning at the same time and that type of thing. So there's already, you're coming into a situation where there's already friendships and relationships built. And then to have the partnership with James and Angel, his wife, and just to kind of, we're all on the same page and we all have a common goal to make sure that, especially in Black community, that we are making string music more prevalent. You know, I have a love for string. I played violin for 10 years, and it's very cool that even though I'm a singer, I get to use this as a way to still, you know, use my love for strings and my love for, you know, making sure that basically Black kids are getting the chance to do what I grew up doing and making it more prevalent in our community. So it's a great partnership to work with James and just continue to build this network out in strings for these kids. So it's great.
Well, before Kevin starts our wrap up here, I do want to let everybody know that James is one of the viewers today, and I'm going to let people know that he's also the 2021 Arts and Education Educator of the Year. So congratulations to James McKay. He's a wonderful partner.
Fantastic. It's been great. I've you know seen the questions scroll by, and I know that there are lots of comments on lots of great things, and lots of people, over 170 tuned in today, and we are so thankful that you've all done this and you've chosen to be a part of this. I know that you have options of other things that you could be doing over your lunch. So we are so thrilled that you decided to be with us today, and we really appreciate it, and we miss you. We can't wait to see you back at the hall. I just want to reiterate, you know, we've thrown a lot of information toward you, but all of this stuff you can find on the SLSO website. Just go to In Unison and take some time and read. If you've got more questions, reach out to me, or reach out to Maureen, or reach out to Michelle. If you want to get involved in any of these programs, we love connecting people in this way, and know that music is such an important aspect of what we do. So I want to make sure that all of you are aware of the fact that if you need any more information, you've got all the info there. I better wrap up and say thanks to a lot of people. This has been so great to hear the passion and the excitement behind what we do, and we love it so much. So thanks to Gwen Wesley and Michael Casimir and Darius Duncan and Natalie Joachim and Michelle Byrd and Molina Smith. It's just so great to have all of us here together. We can't really hug right now, but just know it's a virtual hug, and so great to see you all. And then also a huge thanks to the Bayer Fund. They've been, as we said at the beginning, they've been with us from the beginning. We couldn't do much of what we do without them. And also for the support of Ascension and Ascension Charity Classic for sponsoring today's Lunch and Learn. Thanks to everybody for being a part.
Yeah. And thanks to all the people behind the scenes at the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra making occasions like this possible. We'd like to invite everybody to mark their calendars for the next edition of Lunch and Learn with the SLSO. That's going to be on Wednesday, August 19th at noon. Be on the lookout for details in your email inbox in a couple of weeks. And thank you everybody for joining us today, and join us at an In Unison event at some point. That's my challenge for 2021. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a great week.